Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to your practice today. So, I have a strap. If you don't have a strap, a belt, scarf, or a tie is a suitable replacement. I have a couple of blocks. Books are fine. And this week I have two blankets. I have two blankets because the first pose we're going to do laying down on our back. Sometimes it feels nice for the spine to have a little bit more cushioning. I shall leave that for you to decide as you go and gather the props you need for your practice today. Okay, my lovelies. So today's practice is a Yin practice, and we're going to play around with the movements of the spine, and within the movements of our spine, experiencing our breath. So, first pose, you're going to want possibly your blanket to lay upon. And then your other blanket is for your head. And when you're setting your blanket up, you want your feet to be on your mat, not the blanket. Okay? So the first pose we're going to do is constructive rest. So those of you that have done constructive rest with me before, I invite you to get yourself set up and relax into it. If you haven't done constructive rest with me, I will help you get set up. So the block goes between your thighs. Okay? What we're doing is we're making the hip flexor, the psoas muscle, as neutral as we possibly can. Now your strap or your belt or your scarf, you're going to tie around your legs to hold your legs together and hold that block in place so that the strap is doing the work so your legs can relax. So you're kind of, if you've got a loop in your strap or in your belt, you're pulling that up like you're pulling up a pair of pants. So how this is going to look, it looks like this front and back. So the strap is holding the block and my legs. Okay, so from the back, looks the same. Then you're going to come and lie down on your back, and I invite you to get a little fidgety at first. So when we're in this constructive rest, ideally you're going to be perfectly still. So let's take a moment, arrange your clothes, organize your seams. Notice if there are any bumps anywhere that feel a little bit uncomfortable, because after even a short amount of time, that's all that you're going to notice is where something feels uncomfortable. My knees are bent. My feet are kind of mat width, maybe even a little bit pigeon-toed. The reason that we don't have our feet hip width is as we hold for time, as the body relaxes, the knees can start to fall to the side. And if you're super relaxed, that tends to jump you into a startle reflex. So we don't want that to happen. So knees are hip width and your knees are kind of kissing together. So they're resting together. You've made your lower body into a pyramid. Arms come out by your sides, palms face up. And now we're going to allow our body to completely soften. So breathing in and breathing out. We're not going to try and do anything with our breath right now. So the spine is neutral. So when our spine is neutral like this is kind of like when we sit in Sukhasana, or sitting with our legs crossed, or we sit in Dandasana, staff pose, or Tadasana, standing pose. So when the spine is neutral, that is when the spine is samastitihi. And that means standing balance or balanced standing. So here we are, breathing in, breathing out, letting go of doing anything with your breath other than observing it. So we're not trying to make it deep. We're not trying to do a yoga breath. Let's just allow our body to unwind. Allow the body to find its own rhythm. If we meet our body where it is, it's going to be more responsive when we ask of it. So welcoming in any sensations that you're feeling right now, noticing. Notice how the mind wants you to twiddle your fingers. Notice how the mind wants you to twiddle your toes. See if you can stay perfectly still. Even the wiggle of your fingers, the wiggle of your toes is activating the hip flexor muscle through the web of fascia. We're stimulating the nervous system. So I invite you to stay as still as you possibly can. And in this stillness, we're allowing the body to unwind. We're allowing the muscles to relax. We've created a completely neutral position for the hip flexor, the psoas muscle. And this muscle is anchored through fascia to the diaphragm. So by neutralizing this muscle, by allowing it to completely soften, it frees up the diaphragm. So the diaphragm can start to breathe in its rhythm without the hindrance of a stressed out psoas muscle. So we're going to be here for a little bit more time. So as your breath slows down, as you breathe at the rhythm of your own breath, perhaps there's an intention that you want to bring into your practice today. Let's welcome that in. And just scanning the body, and scanning from the muscles in your face. See if they can soften the muscles of the scalp. Can you allow your neck muscles to soften? Maybe your shoulders can sink down against the ground. Just feeling the muscles in your torso relax, your arms, your hands. The muscles of your legs relax. So we don't have to hold the legs up. Having the block between the knees, and having the knees resting together, having the strap holding that. Okay? No need to have active legs. Legs can be completely relaxed, they're not going anywhere. Feel your feet heavy on the ground. And allow your spine, your hips, your torso, shoulders, your arms, your head, everything heavy on the mat. Allow the ground to hold you. Allow yourself to sink into that support. So as you begin to soften and relax, I'm going to invite the breath to be a little bit more directed. So as you inhale, inhaling into the chest, into the belly, and exhaling from the belly and from the chest. So as we breathe, we kind of Acknowledge the breath moving in. The body expands as we inhale, contracts as we exhale. We're kind of acknowledging the breath in the front of the body. I'm going to invite you to breathe three-dimensionally. As you inhale, as you feel the front of your body receiving the breath, see if you can feel the sides of your body expanding. As you exhale, you feel your belly sink down, you feel your rib cage sink down. Can you feel the sides of your body gently retracting? And as you breathe in, can you breathe into the back of your body? So as you breathe in, as you feel the front and the sides expand, can you feel the ribs against the floor? You feel the low back expand and stretch. So breathing into the front, the sides, the back of the body. Exhaling, feeling everything relaxing back. Inhale, there's a little bit of effort because some stretch is happening, opening. Exhaling, you're letting everything relax back. I'm going to take just a couple more breaths. Next time you inhale, let's bring some movement to our fingers and to our toes. Don't worry about the props that you've used. They're not going anywhere. Bringing some movement to your fingers and your toes. Maybe just heel toeing your feet. Maybe walk your feet back together. And again, don't worry about the blocks. The blocks aren't going anywhere. The strap isn't going anywhere. As you're ready, we're going to roll over onto the right side. So don't worry about pulling your knees into your chest. We're keeping everything soft and relaxed for the hip flexor. If you want to, you can rest your head upon your arm, on your hand. That feels good. Again, we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. We're shifting the body. And we're just inviting this shift, this different direction. We're inviting ourselves out of that deep relaxation. Okay, so we don't want to move too fast, otherwise we're going to overstimulate the nervous system. Bring your knees in a little bit closer, and then you're going to release the strap enough. And at that point, you can take your block out of the way, and you can step out of your strap. And then we can put that over to one side. And as you're ready, nice big inhale, palm on the floor, and exhale. We'll bring ourselves up to sitting. So, it's coming into a seated pose. And we're going to carry on with that breath we had. So we're inhaling, chest, belly, body expands, exhaling, belly, chest, body contracts, relaxes. And now we're sitting up. The spine is still neutral, samasthiti, but we are experimenting with that three-dimensional breath. So we're breathing into the front of the body, breathing into the side of the body, breathing into the back of the body. And as you exhale, everything gently relaxes back. And as you're ready, we're going to come into a forward fold. So forward fold, Paschimottanasana, is stretching to the west, or stretching the back body. I'm going to invite you to sit on a blanket if you need to, okay? So this is going to give you a little bit of space. We're going to bring the feet together, okay? So if you're sitting this way on your mat, take your blanket to the back edge of your mat so that you've got more room for your feet, okay? If you're sitting this way on your mat, then it's not going to be an issue. And then we'll come into our forward fold. So if you need a little bit of extra assistance, right, you can use the props, okay? Use the props as you need them, okay? Maybe it's a little roll in your blanket to come into your shape. So if you're feeling that you're not finding the room in your hips, move your feet away, okay? That's going to give you more room to come forward. So I have about this much space between my feet and my groin. The closer your feet are, the more hatha your butterfly, the more stretch you're going to feel here. There's no room for you to come forward. Okay, when we move our feet away, there's lots of room. Okay, there's much more room for you to come forward. So we're sinking down into our butterfly shape, and remembering that in yin, we want to play at our edges. So as you relax down into your forward fold, you want to nudge into the edge of your stretch. So we want to be able to hold for time. So it might be that as you play your edge, you might need to back off just a fraction so that you know you can hold for time. Maybe it might not be quite as deep as if you're in a hatha practice where you are only holding for 3 to 5 breaths. So we're going to be here for a little bit of time. So you want to play the edges, you want to feel that sense of effort, that sense of challenge, but at the same time, we want to be able to hold in stillness for time. So if you're super fidgety, right, the chances are you're too deep in the practice. Okay? You're too deep in the pose for this breath. You might be able to go deeper as the practice we hold for time. So as the practice moves forward, okay? So resting down in your chosen shape. Let your head be heavy. And so now, how does it feel to breathe three-dimensionally? So we're breathing into the front of the body, but it's compressed. Can you breathe into that compression? Can you breathe into that contraction? We can breathe into the side of the body. That can still be spacious. We can breathe into the back of the body. Can you breathe into the front of your body? So breathe into that little bit of resistance. Breathe into that little bit of contraction. As we've been here for a little bit of time, at this point, you might explore the pose a little bit deeper. So if that is available to you, then you're more than welcome to come in a little deeper. If you're not ready to, you don't need to. Inhaling into the front of the body, to the sides of the body, to the back of the body. Breathing three-dimensionally. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, relaxing back. Just a few more breaths. So bring your palms under your shoulders. Take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, a little bit more active with your exhale, draw the belly towards the spine. So we're going to come up on the exhale just to support the spine from that delicious deep forward fold. And take your hands to your knees, draw the knees together, lean back on the hands. Just windscreen wiper the knees from side to side. Beautiful. All right, my lovelies. So I'm going to stretch through the side body now. So you can use your blanket if you want your head to rest on something, but as you get into the pose, you'll need to adjust the blanket. We're going to start out on the right edge of the mat. And we'll come laying down. And as you lay down, feel your heels, your calves, your bum, your shoulders, your head on the mat. So feel your weight evenly. And just register what that feels like. And then as you're ready, we're going to slide the shoulders to the left. So we're sliding the shoulders and the head is going to follow the shoulders. So we're not dragging ourselves across our mat with our hair. So shoulders are going to move to the left of the mat and the head will follow. Chin's a little bit tucked. If you want to have your head on a blanket, remember you can do that. Okay, and we're going to just feel that stretch in the ribs here. So the right hip stays at the right side of the mat. And again, we're feeling all the touch points evenly. So shoulders still are weighted evenly on the mat. Our hips, our calves, our heels, everything is still weighted evenly. And then as you're ready, we're going to take our feet over to the left. So we look like a little banana laying down. Again, notice if you've gone so far with your feet that your right butt cheek is lifting off the mat. So we want to make sure that both butt cheeks are resting equally on the mat, both shoulders, both heels. You can bring your right arm up. Okay, you can bring your right arm out to the side. Okay, whatever feels good, just to add in a little bit of stretch. And then we're going to take the left foot, Well, sounds kind of counterintuitive, but we're going to take the left foot to the right ankle, if that's available. And what we're doing, we just anchor that right ankle down. So the stretch through the right side of the body goes from the right ankle all the way up to the armpit, and maybe even up through the arm to the little finger. So now here we've got this beautiful spacious right side and this compressed left side. And here I'm going to invite you to again just spend some time breathing into both sides of the body, breathing into the front of the body, breathing into the back of the body. And we're just noticing how the breath feels different on the right side and on the left side. It's just an observation. It's not that it's better or worse. Just how does it feel breathing into spaciousness? How does it feel breathing into contraction? And then very slowly, let's uncross the ankles, bring the arm back down by your side. We're going to shift the feet back to the right side of the mat. And then shift the shoulders to the right side and just take a breath or two here. So breathing in, breathing out, three-dimensional breath. How does the right side feel, the left side feel? And then let's bend the knees. And we're going to scooch your body over to the left side of the mat. And then come back into your laying down, your Shavasana pose. Again, notice how your mind wants to jump ahead and immediately get into the pose because it's the side we're going to repeat. But treat this side as if it's the first time you've done the pose, right? So keep the mind engaged with the present breath rather than the future event of where you're going. So take a moment, feel your heels on the mat, feel your calves, feel your butt, feel your shoulders, feel your head. Feel the weight evenly on the mat, just as we did before. And this time, let's come in a little differently. Let's try a slightly different route. Maybe this time we'll bring the feet to the right side of the mat. See how that feels. Take a breath here. Let the body settle. Feel the stretch. And as you're ready, let's take the shoulders over to the right side of the mat. Again, just breathing here now. Let's check in the head, the shoulders, the butt cheeks, the calves, the heels. Everything's evenly weighted on the mat. Okay? And then we can stretch out with that left arm. Just inviting a slightly deeper version. You can have an airplane arm, that's fine too. And then finally, let's take the right ankle, and rest it on top of the left. Again, if that feels a little bit too much, you don't need to do that. So now we're just breathing into the left side. So feel how spacious that feels. Breathing into the front of the body, the back of the body. As we breathe into the right side, notice how that feels. Can you still breathe three-dimensionally? Can you still breathe into that right side, even though there's compression there? So a side stretch is Parshva, a side stretch or asymmetric. And just creating a beautiful lateral stretch for the spine. And as you're ready, just uncross the ankles. Bring the arm back down by your side. And bring the feet back to center. Shift the hips over. And again, just take a breath. So finding kind of that Shavasana shape on your mat. So I'm going to take a block. And we're going to put a block under a bum. And we're going to bring the block so kind of right towards the top of the pelvis. And we'll bring the knees into the chest. Take a little stretch here. So I'll give you a couple of options here. And this won't be a really long hold, but this will be our Viparita hold, that looking at things from a different, or looking at things in a different way. So Viparita is your inversion. So just this is an inversion. If you want to, you can stretch the legs up. This is kind of like legs up the wall pose. If you feel comfortable to go into snail pose, so not plow, okay? Snail pose for yin is a little bit softer, the knees stay bent. So if you want to come up into snail, you need a little bit of core strength for that. Okay, so for snail pose, you're going to press through your hands and you lift your hips. Elbows come in nice and close and your hands support your hips. Knees are bent and open, and you can let your feet dangle. And we'll just be here for a little bit of time. So notice how you're breathing here. So if you're in snail pose, there's lots of compression in the front of your body. If you're in Viparita, where your feet are just up, there's a little bit more space through the front of the body. So just allowing the breath to be very, very soft. But we still want to try and maintain that three-dimensional breath. If you're ready to come out of your snail pose, you're going to let your hands slide through your legs. Let your body land down. Might land on your block if your block was there. Okay, maybe just take a few breaths in the Viparita Karani, or Viparita, Paula's inversion. And on your next exhale, we'll bring the feet, the knees into the chest, and then follow the feet down to the floor. Okay, we'll put our block to one side. All right, my lovelies. So we're going to progress our shapes into Purivatana, which will be a back bend or stretching the body to the east. We're going to roll over and we'll come onto our belly for Sphinx. So elbows are under the shoulders, forearms on the floor. And again, you may or may not want to use your props. So if there's anything going on in your low back, sometimes what feels really nice is to open your blanket so it's not too thick, okay? And you can put your belly button at the center of your blanket, okay? So that can be an option. Let the feet fall open at the heels, and we can stretch back with one foot and then the other foot, okay? If this is still feeling a little bit too much, let your elbows come out a little bit wider, okay? So that can be an option. And you can take yourself all the way down to this. This still puts you just in a little bit of stretch through the front body. So find your version. And then finally, the last option, so you can draw the occipital bone back and be here, or you let your head rest on a block. So taking some time here, finding that sensation of your three-dimensional breath. So we're breathing into the chest, we're breathing into the belly. We're breathing out from the belly and then the chest. So inhaling chest belly, exhaling belly chest. Breathing into the front of the body, breathing into the sides of the body, and breathing into the back of the body. And just notice what's happening as you breathe all the way into the belly. Because we're squeezing the low back, so there's not lots of room to breathe into the back of the body. But at the same time, the weight of our body is also compressing the front. So as you breathe in, as you breathe out, you're noticing that the front and back have compression. Can you still breathe deeply into that compression, into that contraction? If you're ready for a little bit more squeeze, you can draw your heels together, press down through your pubic bones. So feel the hip creases where your leg and your body join. Feel those pressing down as you draw your feet, your heels towards your body. And you're remembering, don't have to come right to your bum, especially if you lose that connection with your hip creases. Just breathing here. Again, just noticing how that changes what you're breathing into as you breathe three-dimensionally. So our breath is quite easy when we're breathing three-dimensionally and the body is in something like a laying down pose or just a regular seated pose. But as we put our body into these different shapes, that sense of three-dimensional breathing can become a little bit more challenging. Likewise, during our day, when we're met with challenges, our body will contract. Okay? We're feeling that sense of moving away from the challenge. Right? The body contracts. When we're feeling stressed, the body contracts. But likewise, when we're something that we really enjoy and we like, there is a sense of contraction there because there's a sense of grasping, grabbing more, bringing it in. So there's still that sense of contraction, that sense of drawing together. So when we're breathing during our day, we're constantly having to breathe into contraction. So when we practice this on our yoga mat, it just helps to keep our breath longer and deeper. When our breath is mindful, when we're able to take these longer, deeper breaths, we have much more clarity. There's more space between our thoughts. There's more choice that is open to us because we see the choice. Let's float our feet back down. And as you're ready, bring your palms under your shoulders, curl the toes under. Nice and slowly peel yourself off the mat. Draw the belly in to support the spine. And we'll just take a short child pose. Coming up to sitting. Okay. So we're going to come into a twist now. So this is where we wring the whole body out. So we're actually going to compress the whole body or the whole of the torso. So the focus is more on the breathing and some twist with a neutral spine rather than how deeply you can twist. So I'm going to give you options. If you're feeling tight here, please do sit on your blanket or sit on your blocks and you can decide how to get your spine straight. And we'll start out with our twist to the right. So it might just be you bring your left hand to the outside of your right leg. This might be your twist. So we keep the spine long. It might be that you bend your right leg. Okay. Notice how soft my hands are. I'm not gripping. If I let go with my hands, I don't spring out of my twist like a wound up elastic band. If you want to, maybe you can cross your leg over. Okay. Again, just coming into your twist is going to put a little bit of compression by having the leg up. Okay. And then finally, if it's available to you, maybe you take your left foot to your right hip. Now, if you're doing this, make sure your sit bones are equally placed, because if you're falling into your left sit bone, it's going to mean that your spine is crooked. Okay. So again, the point of this is your breath in a little bit of a twist, not how you have your legs in your pose. So I think for today, I'm going to do this version. So again, let your hands be light. You can rest on the palm, rest on your fingertips, rest on your knuckles. Maybe you can turn your head a little bit. Breathing in, again, breathe three-dimensionally. So breathe into the side body, breathe into the front body, breathe into the back body, and notice how that feels when you've kind of wound yourself up. You're bringing yourself out. So in your twist, on your next inhale, stay in your twist. Just lift your arms up. Are you able to stay in your twist? And wherever you are in your twist, let your arms lower down. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. As you're ready, exhale, unravel. Stretch out your legs. And just take a couple of breaths here. Just allow the body to land, be. Allow the spine to be neutral. All right, my lovelies. So honoring that this is a new side, right? It's the second time we're doing the shape. Honor it as if it was the first time. And we're going to make our way into our twist. So inhale, lengthen. So this side might be that you just bring your hand to the outside of the left leg. Maybe that you bend the left leg. Maybe that you cross the left leg over. Okay, and again, if you can keep your sit bones equally weighted, might be that you take your right foot to your left hip and find your twist there. Again, just breathing into this wrung out shape that you find your torso in. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Inhaling chest belly. Exhaling belly chest. Inhaling into the front body. Exhaling. Inhaling into the sides of the body. And exhaling. Inhaling into the back of the body. And exhaling. Inhaling three-dimensionally, so inhaling into all the directions, front, sides, and back. The next time you inhale, float your arms up. And exhale, float them down. Just be wherever you are in your twist. Again, just breathing three-dimensionally wherever you are in this twist. And on your next exhale, let's unravel. Stretch out the legs. So I'm going to invite you back into a laying down pose. If you want to kind of set yourself back up into that constructive rest, you can. You're more than welcome to do that. If you want to just come into a regular Shavasana, you are more than welcome to do that. Okay, if you want, remember you can have something under your thighs. If your low back needs a little bit more support, you can have something under your head if your head would like a little bit of support. But again, just experiment with laying down without any support, because we've worked the spine rather nicely, and you might find that today you don't need anything. Use your elbows to bring you down, use your arms. Take some time, shuffle around on the mat. Let your feet fall open at your heels. You can have your feet mat width, you can have your legs closer together. Let your arms come out by your sides, palms face up. So let's let go of doing anything with the breath now. So allow the breath to return to its own rhythm. Allowing the body to breathe itself. Letting your body be heavy on the ground beneath you. Trusting that it will support you completely. As you allow your body to breathe itself, you're finding that your mind is wandering and getting caught up in stories. Let's count backwards from 10. 10, breathing in. 10, breathing out. 9, breathing in. Continuing at your own pace. If you lose count, let's go back to 10. If you get all the way to 0, that's good too. Go back to 10. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, let the breath go. Bring some movement to your fingers and to your toes. Now stretch the arms overhead, make circles with your ankles and with your wrists. Making circles in the other direction. And bend your knees, rest your feet on the floor. Take a breath here. It might feel nice just to stay here. It might feel nice to bring your knees into your chest. It might feel nice to rock from side to side. So whatever your body would like right now, let's take a couple of breaths doing that. And then as you're ready, we'll come rolling over onto your side with your head upon your arm. And just taking a couple of breaths here. Thinking back to the intention that maybe you brought in to your practice. It's certainly something that you can take with you into your day. Arms on the mat. We'll peel ourselves up to sitting. So, sitting up nice and tall. Bring your palms together. We'll close our practice. And we'll chant one Om and think about something that you are in gratitude for. Big breath in. Exhale, let the breath go. And let's inhale to close. Sanam. Thank you for sharing your practice, sharing your time. Namaste.